So on today's episode, get property education. Make sure you do due diligence on sources. You're making me shy.
Don't worry, I don't look at you.
So on today's episode, we're going to show you how we started the All Construction Group, and where it began is on this patch of land. So initially, when we first bought this land, Adam had his history in construction and I have my sales background, so we had no actual development / property knowledge at all. So what we did is what a lot of people do, is go to a property sourcer. We didn't manage to do the correct due diligence on the particular sourcer that sold us this land, and we didn't know what due diligence to do on the land itself. So when we bought the land, we just assumed that we would more or less get planning on it because it's in a residential area. There's houses around, it's just a bit of wasted grass, not really used for much, but we was wrong. So on the planning portal there was actually a withdrawn application from the previous owners. So when we submitted our new scheme, the planning officer was the same planning officer that didn't reject because it was withdrawn, but more or less rejected the previous scheme. So what we did was, rather than wasting the money in the planning application at the time, we've decided to sit on the land, and then once more liquid funds come available and we can afford to potentially get rejected on the planning permission, then we are holding the land at the moment. A learning curve from this was to get property education. Make sure you do due diligence on sources if you're working with any. That's why we provide a sourcing arm of our business, because we've been stung by sources previously, and it can literally, luckily for us, we managed to do other projects which I'll show you next. But a lot of people, if they would have bought this land, then they would have been a little bit stuck. Rather sell it for a loss, or they'd have to sit on it like we are, and then they wouldn't have funds to go on to the next project. So after the mishap with this particular project, we had a HMO project come up, which I'm going to take you to now. The HMO project that we built out. So as you can see, we put a dormer on the back. So with this particular project, it was actually found because it was a family friend of ours. It was their family home for like 40 odd years. Then they moved to a smaller residence and just kept this empty. So when we actually took this over, I'll insert a video here now. So as you can see on the property, it's not been touched for many years, and because it's been left on its own, it's obviously gone to disrepair. Like the attic had decayed on the Velux window, which had made the roof cave in, and then all the windows were broken more or less, and a benefit of that was that there was a lot of air in the property, so there wasn't that much mould. But back to me. With this, what we did was, while we was building this one out, we didn't actually have our own contracting business. We had the acoustic and flooring business that Adam was running, but we didn't actually have a contracting business. So with our experience on this particular project, by getting let down constantly by subcontractors, people not turning up, people overpricing us, we luckily did go out to market and get quite a lot of quotes, but seeing the variation of the quotes from trade to trade, tradesman to tradesman, we decided that starting our own construction business and offering this service out to other clients and other investors was going to be very beneficial to us, because if you don't have the knowledge in the industry, then you're literally just going to get had off left, right and centre. So that's how we started the All Construction Group so far, because we found that sources, you can have a bad experience with them, which we experienced. So we wanted to avoid people having that experience again. And then also with the trades, people try and self-manage a lot of the projects, or even they'll get a contractor in which isn't up to scratch. So we knew that there was a market for a reliable contractor, and especially with our knowledge and the amount of HMOs that we've been fortunate enough to complete now, whether it be our own or for a client, then we know and we're very confident that we have the experience with HMOs and the commercial conversions to provide the product that the client's looking for at the end. So keep watching our episodes, because we will take you along the builds that we're currently on. Unfortunately, we can't go back and show you all the builds that we did last year, but going forward, we're going to document all the builds, all the problems, scratch the car alarm. But yeah, make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, tell your mum, tell your dad.